Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness. Business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve, Ramon, and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast.
BrainShare Business Mentors proudly presents BrainShare.us, the ultimate business education platform, delivering the proven systems, processes, tools, and knowledge that empower you to build the business of your dreams. With 13 high-powered courses encompassing over 240 lessons accessed online on your schedule. Running a business is the hardest thing you'll ever do. We've helped thousands of business owners gain the leadership, communication, and business skills needed to build the business of their dreams. We can help you. Choose your learning path. Scuba Squad is the premier membership program for today's business leaders with access to all BrainShare material and double our money-back guarantee. BrainShare Basics, the ultimate business framework course, a hard-hitting 13-week program to lay the necessary foundation to build the business of your dreams. Or take individual courses as you need them. Every course has dozens of lessons, with video, practical exercises, precise documentation, and the opportunity for direct feedback from a BrainShare mentor. All programs have our exclusive 30-day money-back guarantee. No questions asked, don't wait. Choose your path and start today.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. Doing business and life with a purpose. Serving others, and yes, achieving success. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. We created this show for you because we want everyone to be motivated, inspired, and educated to make an impact in your world. Not the whole world. Let's change and impact your world. And while you listen to, and this guest is incredible, he's going to blow you away. I want you to think about how you will serve today and what impact you create today with that service. Thank my two sponsors. I want to thank BrainShare.us. Drive business success and sustainability with BrainShare Business Mentors, where your business flourishes and your vision comes to life. Check out the link in the show notes. And then pitchdb.com. Be a guest on over 3 million podcasts, speak at over 11,000 conferences, and much more. Think about building your thought leader platform with incredible opportunities to show who you really are. With that all being said, as I always say, I put impact in my monologue because with a servant's heart, that's what you do, is you make an impact by bringing value. This guest today is going to blow you guys away because talking about a servant's heart, he lives it every day. We just have met, I think it's been a few weeks, but we really think in the same lines, and I'm excited to have him on. Lane, welcome to the show.
Wow, Steve, I've already picked up tips from how you do your introductions, being a fellow podcaster. And again, I know we've talked, and I believe everything that you are about, I highly endorse, and I've looked forward to this day for quite a while. And I'm glad it's on a Monday. It's on a Monday, and I'm ready to. I'm fired up. It's going to be a good week. And guess what? You ready for this? You don't know this yet, but I am 6 days out from a milestone birthday. So this is my birthday week. I'm excited for.
Well, let's give you a huge present then. Man, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Well, you know, and by the way, we call Matthew McConaughey on the side. I know I was teasing him earlier in the green room. And we both love that guy. And podcasting, we just did our podcast. And I want podcast hosts to hear this. I just did your show, and now you're doing my show. Here's one of the ways to connect and serve more and serve others. If you're a podcast host, find other hosts that you resonate with and connect with them. Let's start with a servant's heart. Let's go right to the granular. What's your definition of a servant's heart?
You coming out of the gate. I love that. Servant heart, I think of serving as truly doing something without having the other hand know it. Do something with your left hand, having your other hand, your right hand not knowing it. And I believe in that, and I believe that going into it and not expecting anything in return then that is a true servant's heart. And I believe that when you can put good into the world, I think we've talked about it offline. When you can put good into the world, it will come around. That's what I really, when I talk with individuals and strategize with businesses and coach with people, if you truly understand that if you put enough good in the world, it will come back to you. And you have to understand that. And some of the best conversations, some of the best things that I've learned in business, whether I'm with my mentors or my coaches, is just truly understanding that if you have that servant heart, then it will come back around and you will kind of live in that life of abundance. And so that would be my definition.
You have a great story I heard earlier today on your podcast. I'd love for you to share the grocery store story and what you do, because I think everybody in the audience should hear this. This is a great tip.
Well, Steve, if you go out, people have name tags. People have name tags for a reason, whether you're at the grocery store, whether you are at any other type of store, and people love to hear their names. I will never forget a mentor of mine told me, what's the number one thing people like to hear? And it's their name. And so I've always applied that in just my daily practices of acknowledging someone, because really, truthfully, a lot of times you don't know people's stories. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know what they've gone through that day. And hearing someone's name, I love it. I love when people say my name. And a practice that I've always done and I will always continue to do and always tell people to do is really ask those individuals, hey, how was your day, Steve? Or nice to meet you, Steve, or using that name. And so I really try to do that when I'm at my day to day. And there was a story that I got to share with you when we were recording on another episode. There is a store near us. There's a Publix grocery store, and there's this lady in there, and she is such an amazing lady. She is so nice, and I've always called her out by name, and I've always said, "Hey, how are you doing today, Jen? Jen, how was your day today? Hey, Jen, has the store been busy today? Is there anything going on today, Jen?" Because I'm there. Honestly, I'm there all the time. Like I spend more time there than I feel like anywhere else. And going into that, there have been days, and I will tell your audience this, and I will tell this, like I'm human. There are days that I'm not having a good day and things are just not going right, but I always try to make it a point to use someone's name or say hello, and in Jen's case. And so one day, after all this, I expected nothing in return. Something happened where I needed to return a lot of groceries that we got, maybe that they went bad or that they were short dating on them. I'm sure everyone's gotten stuff like that before. And I just said, hey, Jen, this is what's happened. And is there any way you can help me out? And there wasn't even a pause in her breath. It was absolutely, Lane, come over here. We'll take care of it. And it just reminded me as she was ringing that up or taking it back, it said, I wonder if I had not built that rapport with her, if I had not built that kind of quote unquote passerby relationship, would this have been a different experience? And so I never knew that would happen, but building that equity of calling her name out and sharing her name. And so that's what I've always said is people wear name tags for a reason and try to use it as much as you can.
Servant currency. That's what I call it. You build that beautiful currency. And you gave a great tip. People, like waiters and waitresses. We went out to eat yesterday, and I was thinking as you're telling your story this morning, the waiter never told us his name. Still good service. It was fine. But again, as I talk about with servant heart, go a little bit extra, be a little bit different. If he would have gone, hey, nice to meet you. I'm Tony, you're a server. How can I help you? And take it even a step further. This is how I think. And I know you think the same way. Get the names of your customers. And by the way, what's your name? Oh, I'm Steve, and this is Melinda. I've had that happen. The value from that, just that simple move is so powerful, right?
Yeah. Oh, I love that move. There's a guy, I will tell you this, there's a guy where I live at, and there's a really good restaurant, and he has a reputation of being the best server in the area. And so check this out. He is so good that he gives his clients, his customers, his cell phone number. And so basically, I'll just say this. So John is one of my best friends, and John goes to this restaurant and he gets that server. Well, that server gives John his cell phone number. And now whenever I go to that restaurant, I text him and I say, hey, are you working tonight? And if he says yes, he pencils me in his section and I'm always with him. And so talk about going one step further, and he knows I'm going to leave a good tip. It's going to be a good experience. And so that when you told that story, that reminded me that's someone who took it one step further.
Yeah, that's a correct. I mean, don't be afraid to give out your phone number. My partner, Josh Tapp, and I mentioned on my show, had got a great tip from mentor. When you go out and if your speakers out there, when you go out and speak, at the end, give out your cell phone number and tell everybody to text you. Well, you just collected 70 numbers of people that are interested because there were 70, they all text them. And then, you're not going to go back and forth text, but then you're going to go, hey, thank you. How was the speaking gig? Da, da, da. Oh, it's great. By the way, come here to in my case, YouTube channel, your podcast, and learn more about me. Once we make it personal, the servant heart blows up. It just blossoms like a rose. I want to ask you this, because I don't know if I've asked you this, but how do you bring the servant's heart into your business, and what do you do?
That's good. Man, I started at a young age trying to connect people, and I really wanted to understand how people received value. And I quickly understood that the sooner you can connect people and the sooner you can let people share their stories and give them a platform, you then have the capability of being closer with them and or asking something that you need. And so I've really lived my life that way, and in my business and my entrepreneurial journey is I really want to give back to the individuals that I'm meeting with or that I'm interviewing with or that I'm just doing life with. At the end of my life, I want people to say, goodness, that guy was such a connector. And not only was that, he asked me all the time, hey, how can I do and help your business? Or how can I serve you? Or he gave such a platform to people to truly to grow. And so for me, I started my podcast and I started my businesses because I, growing up, had to basically teach business skills myself. I really didn't have a mentor. I really didn't have people that were telling me how to do business. And I would always find individuals that I wanted to be like, and I would sit down and ask them tons of questions. I would say, hey, how do you do this? Or how did you do that? I would never ask for really anything in return. And there was one day that I was having a conversation with a very successful businessman, and I left that conversation and I was like, goodness, I wonder if I had had that recorded in a podcast or an audio, if someone would have listened to that. And then I would have helped that person grow their message. And so then that started the whole podcasting thing about a decade ago. And I put it off just like probably every other podcaster. I didn't start it. I didn't think that I could until about 6 or 7 years ago, or I don't even remember how long it was. One of my best friends, this is a really cool thing. One of my best friends, he was a holistic practitioner. And we would go on runs and we would ride bikes and swim all the time. And I would ask him all these questions like, hey, what do you think about this? Or how do you do this in your practice? Or what do you believe about this nutrition and blah, blah, blah. And finally, one day I said to him, Steve, I said, hey, doctor, I was like, you should start a podcast. You have so much value to add. You should start a podcast. And he looked at me straight in the eyes, and I'll never forget it. And he said, if you do it, we can do it together. And I said, okay, well, we could do this. I ordered a $300 piece of equipment off of Amazon. I had no idea how to do anything. A week later, I still have the picture. I was sitting in his office and we were recording, and I was interviewing him, giving him a platform and letting him share all of his knowledge. Today, that podcast still runs. He still has sponsors. I was the interview person. I interviewed him for quite a long time, and I gave him a platform, and I got nothing. This is what I want people to realize. I invested money and I learned, and I spent hours and hours learning how to edit shows and basically do everything with a podcast completely for free. And I grew his platform. I grew his business, but then it has turned into everything that I get to do today. I have multiple shows, multiple clients, all the different types of webs of weaves. And so I just went into it and I completely served him, his business. It's thriving. He gets customers. His podcast it's booming. And now I get to do this every single day. And everything that has come good in my life always started by me serving at some capacity. And that's where my heart is. And that's what I feel most aligned with.
That's a powerful story because that tells you the how, why, or where when you serve. Here's the return. You build his business, you build his podcast. Now you get to do what you're passionate about, like I am. That is a servant story. You need to listen to that over and over because that's powerful. So I'm going to ask you this. Don't be a challenge. You're so darn smart. It would be challenging. But I hear from people, from my audience and my friends, like, I love to connect because I know it's important for this, but I'm an introvert. What tips would you give to an introvert?
What tips would I give to an introvert? It's funny. In my friend group or within my group, I am known as the peopler. I don't know if you've heard that terminology before, but so this weekend, we are going down to the beach and we're inviting friends and we put the list together and we joked because we ended up inviting 75 people. And my wife was like, you got like 75 people? And I'm just a peopler. I'm just an absolute peopler. So I'm an extrovert. But for an introvert, I would say that some of my tips would be, oh man, that's a good question. I would say that if you truly understand people and you're able to sit down from someone and get to know them on a one-off or a two-off basis, then you're able to kind of break out of that. And so I guess what do I mean by that is it's okay. And I want to give permission to people to say that they're an introvert. I think sometimes that introverts can be labeled as people that may not have good communication skills or they just don't want to be around people. I think that introverts, I've interviewed introverts and I love interviewing introverts because they have a different mindset and a perspective on connection. They have a different mindset and perspective on, what it means to really connect at a deeper level. And so just ask good questions and listen like we've talked about before. It's just so important to listen to what people have to say because people want to be heard. And someone told me an introvert, it's so interesting. An introvert, it's a good example. I was talking with an introvert and I knew it. And I was asking her questions and she was sharing with me very vulnerable things. And when I'm talking with someone, I'm listening and I'm intently listening to people. And I feel that. I feel what they have to say. I want to feel it. And I'll never forget, after that conversation, that person texted me 30 minutes later and said, "Hey, I just want to let you know, the cues that you were giving me when you were listening to me, I felt them. I really felt them. And I appreciated that." And then now, every time I see her, it's like she's an extrovert. And so, it's just really feeling that and hearing those individuals and challenging yourself as you're an extrovert to hear those conversations.
Greatest answer. Questions and listen. Because here's the thing. We're both extroverts. We're peopler. I love that phrase. I'm going to use that. Peopler. It's the energy is not a problem, but we tend to get so excited, at least me, I want to speak for me, that I lose the listening. I miss something. Nothing big, but sometimes I'll miss something. But an introvert, you guys and girls are so powerful because just like you said, ask that question. And extroverts, anybody in the world, if you're not asking questions in anything you do in life, you're not learning, I think. So appreciate you saying that. Here's the thing that's very interesting. You got into podcasting, and we talked about before the show, but you don't have a sponsor. Being a passion for you, there's 3 million podcasts out there, like I said. And I get all the time, I'm not going to start a podcast that's 3 million. What's your answer to that when people say, why'd you start a podcast? Like, there's 3 million out there.
I love this question. I get it every single day in everything that I do. And I believe this goes back to the arena. This is what I talk about a lot. The arena, the sports arena. and people say, I don't have a following. I don't want to start a podcast. And I say, listen, if you're talking to one person, you can impact one person. Now expand that a little bit and imagine that you're at lunch with 5 people and you're educating and talking 5 people. You would agree that's a lot of people, right? That's 5 people. Wow, you get to influence 5 people. Let's take it a step further and let's go to a college classroom. Let's say there's 150 people in that classroom. That's a lot of people. But on paper and perception of what social media has done is it said that 150 people is not a lot of people. But truly, if you're standing in front of 150, imagine that. Now take it a step further and do 1,000. I only have 1,000 followers. 1,000 followers, that's a pretty big crowd. And if you can influence one of those, then look at the impact that you're creating. It's the same thing with a podcast. Podcasting is very strategic. And this is what I want people to understand. I believe that if you have a skill or if you have something that you want to share with the world, there are people out there that need that skill. They need to understand what you have been through so you can help them guide through it. And so with that, you can own a little piece of the internet, whether it's 5 people, whether it's 500 people, whether it's 5,000 people. And so I tell people, do not worry that there's 3 million podcasts. If you start a podcast, if you start something on social media or YouTube or any other channel, strategically place it within your business or within what you want to do. Because if you clearly define where you want it to be within your business, it will continue and you'll keep up with it. Steve, you may know the statistic, but like it's really astronomical how many people don't move past the 2nd episode or even the 10th episode. And so if you go into it and you say, hey, I'm going to do this. I'll tell you this, one of my mentors, I said way back when, I said, hey, I'm going to start a podcast. He looked at me in the face and he said, hey, if you're not going to do this for a year, do not do it. And I was like, wow, that's very strong. And the reason why is because you got to stay consistent with it, but you also have to understand and define it of where you want it in your business or where you want it to serve within your life. And inevitably, 10 out of 10, 100%, the people that I work with, the people that I strategize with, if we clearly define it and give it the why in the beginning, you will continue to do it, you'll continue to show up, and it will have its purpose.
Well said. I took some notes. And the biggest phrase that you said that listeners, you got to understand, own a piece of the internet. Lane didn't say Tony Robbins own when he's got 50 million followers. That's great. But if you can affect one person on this podcast or any podcast that you do, and then the flip side is, how about the connection side? We're talking about connecting and networking. How has the podcast helped you with building your network?
It's my entire business. It's my life. It's my entire, it's literally, if I look at it, it's like, I wouldn't be doing anything if it wasn't for the connections and the people that I've had on the podcast. And I will be the first one to tell you and your listeners right now, like I have an amazing couple podcasts and shows, but I don't have 1 million followers, nor do I want 1 million followers. It'd be great if the good Lord blessed me with that. That'd be absolutely amazing. But it's serving its purpose is connecting me with people within my businesses and with relationships. I mean, I got to interview someone the other day that I've been wanting to interview ever since I started podcasting. And it was such a fruitful conversation. It's done amazing and people have given me feedback on it. But that connection led me to 3 other connections, which I'm actually going to be having a business conversation about something that's within my business that's not even on my podcast. And so you just never know. We have to, as a society, we have to understand and we have to get to a point of thinking that if it doesn't serve me in that moment, then I'm not going to do it. We have to get out of that microwave society. We have to get out of the social media mindset of, if this doesn't serve me right now, if this post doesn't go viral right now, if this episode doesn't go viral right now, then I'm not going to do it. Because that's not the way the business world works. That's not how things are working right now. And you have to just truly think that, man, we're going to play the long game and truly build something that you want to build and you feel aligned with.
He runs his business, and people that know me, that are listening, that's what I do. We're brothers. That's why we're going to work together. There's some great things we can do in partnerships. That's the power of this. How much fun is that? So we're getting to the end here, and I want you back for part 2. We got a lot more to talk about. So if you're willing, we're going to schedule another time and record this, because there's more we could go. But I want to reach out to my network through my podcast. Who are those 4 people that you mentioned to me that you love on your podcast? If you have a connection, reach out to Lane. He'd love to talk to him. Who are those 4 guys?
Yeah, so there's actually 5, and I forgot to mention to you because one of those I
So
ticked
one of them was
off.
Steve Ramona.
That's right.
No, I'm kidding.
So there were 5. So there's 5 big ones. And the reason I didn't tell you the 5th one is because he's actually coming on to my show in May. He's the first one ticked off. And actually, you may know him, you may not know him. His name is Chris Harder. Are you familiar with Chris Harder?
Heard the name, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he's in the podcasting space. He's been a virtual mentor of mine. So he's coming on May. So I've got 4 more that I really want to tick off the list. It's going to be Ed Milet. It's going to be Lewis Howes. It's going to be Matthew McConaughey. And it's going to be, who was that other one? Now I'm drawing a blank. This is terrible.
Me too.
You got me stumped now.
Yeah,
Lewis
too.
Howes, Ed Milet, Matthew McConaughey, and you got me absolutely stumped here. I would say Joe Rogan, but that's not going to happen. Yeah. It could happen. Let's say it could happen.
Chances are, I always tell people chances are minimal, but could happen. You never know.
That's right. That's right. Well, if I think about it through the show, I'll let you know.
Yeah, and do me a favor, reach out to Lane and ask him who's that 4th person. And by the way, how can people connect with you?
Yeah, people connect with me. I'm very heavily on Instagram. You can connect with me at Lane Taylor __. Very active on LinkedIn as well. Those are a lot of the channels that you can reach me at.
And what's your podcast? And talk about.
Yeah, so I got 2 podcasts, and pretty much I've got a daily show going out on all of those. I've got the Equipped podcast that is all about connections and partnerships and business to business, which is heavily focused on LinkedIn and all those other platforms. And then I have a personal podcast, which is called the Built for More podcast. And I do a lot of stuff on those on all the social media platforms too. And so that's where the best place you can reach me.
I love it. Well, thank you for being on. This has been incredible. I'm not surprised.
I appreciate you having me on here, and excited to stay connected with you and the listeners that are listening to this right now. You guys are, if you're in Steve's community, you guys are lucky because he is a leader, and I'm excited to continue to be his friend.
God bless you. Amen. You are a good friend. With that being said, as I always say on a podcast, they make these platforms with a reverse and a forward button. If you think back to VHS days, Lane's a little too young. He probably doesn't know that. Half kidding. We used to push those buttons to go back and forth. Do the same thing on this podcast. Me and Lane would love for you to watch or listen to this whole podcast. But he said it earlier, the power of podcast. If we change you with one comment, one person, or 1,000, take that 5 or 6 minutes, 4 minutes, and go back and forth. He said this. He talked about this. And embed that and practice it and be part of your life. That's what I think one of the powers of the podcast. You have this content you can use and educate yourself daily, weekly, monthly, whatever it may be. And don't forget my TV show, Together We Serve. It's 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, every Friday. Don't forget, hey, how about doing your business with a servant's heart on your chest or on your head? We have hats, we have shirts, we have hoodies. Grab those. The link will be in the show notes, and I'd be excited for you to spread the word of doing business with a servant's heart. Last but not least, me and Lane, thank you so much for listening or watching this podcast, and look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart.